Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Pastor Roland checking in to see how you're doing. Hope you're doing better. Did you know that human beings are supposed to get better and better? As we get older, we're supposed to become wiser, have more patience, more understanding, more wisdom. We're supposed to grow in stature, in character. Okay? That's the way we're supposed to be. But have you noticed how in a lot of cases just the opposite happens? Maybe you're experiencing that. Why is that? Well, because each of us in our life, we recapitulate to a certain degree what happened in the Garden of Eden. See, the history of the human race is a fall. I remember when I was in high school, I went to an excellent high school. It was actually a Catholic high school. I'm not a Catholic, okay? But it was Catholic high school. My parents sent me there because I was going to a regular middle school, and I was really doing very poorly and hanging around with the wrong kind of people. And back then, going to a parochial school was not expensive, so they sent me, and it made a world of difference. But anyway, I remember in our English class, we were studying um, um, Aristotle's the idea of what a tragedy is. And if I'm not mistaken, Aristotle said that a tragedy was the fall of a great man. The fall of a great man. It's sad, isn't it? Fall of a great man. Well, you could say that's what happened in the Garden of Eden. Adam, he wasn't a great man. See, he hadn't been tested yet. See, he was tested and found wanting. As soon as the first test came along, he immediately failed. But how about all of us? How about we, the progeny of Adam, in our own personal failings? See, we're born with a fallen nature that we inherit from Adam. We're born with a fallen nature that we inherit from Adam, and then we have our own personal failings. Okay? So, when we have our own personal failings, then you can see the evidence of what happened to you. It's not a very pretty picture. So, like I was saying, we should be rising instead of falling. So, how do you reverse course? How do you change course? So you start rising instead of falling. Well, the secret is, see, you need God's help. See, it was temptation. Reacting to temptation. Adam was ambitious. His weakness was found out. Oh, what I was going to say earlier, see, I kind of lost track of what I was going to say earlier. I was going to say in our own personal temptations, notice how quick you are. See, Adam was quick to fall. The first temptation that came along, he fell for it. But how about us? We, his progeny. If somebody disses you or doesn't respect you or looks at you funny, don't you immediately leap to judge them, to condemn them in your mind? See? How about if there's a chance to do the right thing, or to go for what is self-serving and expedient? How many of us choose the expedient thing? See, so we're born with a weak nature that's prone to temptation, basically subject to temptation. If you want to know the truth, that's why a lot of times you go through life failing, and you try as hard as you can not to, but you do anyway. Well, there you have it. It's because that's our nature. So that's not your fault. So that's good news. It's not your fault that you're born with a fallen nature. But the only thing is, some of us don't feel right about our fallen nature. We're a bit sheepish about it, and we'd like to upgrade our nature. And not only that, but we don't want to fall. We don't want to fail. Okay? But we see that we can't make ourselves not see. So you see that ultimately a thoughtful person a sincere person, will arrive at the situation where he says, look, I'm messing up. I don't even know how I'm messing up sometimes, but other times I know there's a temptation. I can't say no. I seem to always make the wrong moves. And even when I make the right moves, then they don't turn out right. And my wife is not happy with me, or my husband and I are arguing, and my kids' communication is not good. And so what's going on? And I have many other issues. So you reach the point where after many years of trying, compensating, studying and getting degrees and trying with great effort and huffing and puffing, and finally you reach the point where you're not happy with the way you are, but you also see that you can't change yourself. Well, that's a very important point to reach. It's actually a good point to reach. As long as you don't resent seeing your weakness. See, that's where most people go wrong. They resent seeing it. They resent knowing about their weakness. They resent having their inadequacy exposed. They don't want to admit, see, that they're weak or wrong or in error or can't help, see. So then comes another round of either compensating or another round of hiding. Finally, some people throw in the towel and just say, look, I'll just live like an animal, and but that's no way to live, see. So you reach the point where you're not happy with what you see, but you also realize that you can't change yourself. Well, that's a very good point, because you're right at the cusp, right at the edge of making the breakthrough. Remember what I said, though. It's important not to resent it. See your failing, and be troubled by your failings, concerned by your failings, regret your failings, okay? But don't resent them, and don't resent yourself, and don't resent anyone else. That's the secret, okay? So there you are. And so actually, in a way, that's a silent cry of the soul to God. See, as long as you interfere, as long as you try to improve yourself or see, can you see how that's the ego jumping in? The same character weakness of pride that got Adam booted out of paradise, because he wanted to do it on his own, remember? To eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and so with knowledge he could be like a god. Well, that same weakness then in the second place, when he sees his failing, then tries to compensate and make up for his failing. So the whole history of the human race is a history of compensation. So you look around, we have all the technology, see, which is nice. We have technology and all kinds of things as compensations for what we lost spiritually. See, what we lost spiritually was a rapport with God and a character flowing from within, and the beautiful virtues that come from within. We lost those. So then we try to slap on nice clothes, nice jewelry, nice perfume. See, we try to dress up our funerals and make them look like they're wonderful things, when actually they're not wonderful at all. Another failing, see? All right. So now perhaps you can see, okay, that if you reach the point where you see that you're failing, you don't want to fail, but you realize that you can't make yourself better, and you don't resent seeing it, and you don't get in the way, then that opens the door for God to help you. See, that opens the door to receive His help. And how will His help arrive? Well, the first thing that God gives you as you begin to, it's called when salvation is implemented. It can happen in an instant, the drop of a hat. See, it can happen in the twinkling of an eye. Okay, it begins. But then it's also drawn out over time, because there's a lot to see, a lot to be undone, and many things to realize and to understand and see. So don't be in a hurry. If you're in a hurry, see, so the ego either tries to fix itself, it's the ego jumping in, or The ego tries to project its wrong onto someone else. See, a wrong parent can project his or her wrong onto the child and then correct the child for the very thing the parent is guilty. You see what I mean? Or the ego, when it can't make itself better, then it throws in the towel and then just, says, well, and then resentfully resigns itself to failing. See? Or tries, which is very cruelly confusing to children and other people, tries to make the failing look like the opposite. See? Try to make it look like it's the failing look as if it were a virtue. Some people brag about their short fuse or their drinking binges or whatever the foolish things they do. They try to make it seem like it's a great, So people dress up their alcohol bottles with all kinds of fancy labels and fancy boxes and ribbons and bows and everything, always trying to make what's not so good look like it's good, see? But a sincere person, an honest person, a thoughtful person cannot be happy with that. So what you need is to be saved. Okay? And one of the things you need to be saved from is trying to save yourself. Okay? So the first thing that God gives you, so I'll give you a clue. The first thing that he gives you as salvation begins to be implemented in your life is light. He gives you light so that you can see your face. See, a lot of us are messing up and we don't even know how. So if you see, but if you see, oh, I see what I'm doing wrong. Now I know. Now I understand. See, now I understand why my mom was so unhappy, and now I see why my dad was messing up. He didn't really want to. He wasn't doing it on purpose. He couldn't help him. See, you begin to see, understand. Then you have compassion for others instead of resenting them and judging them. And also compassion for yourself. He gives you light. He gives you light. Okay? And the meditation that I have talked about so many times, that I have, is just a little techniques that helps you to find that light. It goes hand in hand with light entering your life. See, a lot of people walk around in gloom and darkness. When the light comes from God, it's like living in a gloomy, dark room, and then all of a sudden the door opens up and the windows open up and the drapes are pulled back, and now there's beautiful sunshine coming in. Okay? So it's a beautiful thing. Then you see, maybe one of the first things you realize is what I said, that you can't save yourself. That you can't make your self-improvement projects never work. You can't change your nature. You can't make a leopard not have its spots. You see what I mean? So your nature is a failing one, which you inherit. It's not your fault. See, as an ego, we always take responsibility for everything too. So your failing nature. See, your biggest error is not for your failing nature, or even for your failing so much, as for denying the truth. That's your mistake, and resenting the truth. See? So now, when light enters your life, now you begin to see your mistakes that you never saw before. And now you understand also in God's light, you see that you mustn't resent them or yourself, or your inadequacy, or your helplessness. Just see it. Okay? Now, there's something very beautiful about light shining upon something that's negative. So you stand back and you see the negative thing, but now you're not. It's like you're not a part of it. You're looking at it, and you also realize in God's light, He lets you to realize that His light is there, showing you the negative thing. See, and so you realize that the light is there. It's always been there, but you ran from it. You tried to escape from it. You hid in thinking and in imagination and in study and in drugs and alcohol and distractions. But now finally you sit still for the light. Now you begin to see in that light, and knowing that it's there is of great comfort, of exquisite comfort to the soul, to know that God's light is there. And then you also know that He cares about you. If His light is there and He's showing you your error, why is He showing you your error? Why is He wordlessly See, silently, quietly show you your error. Why? So that you can see it and then let go of it, or not do it anymore, or understand what was wrong with it. See, a lot of times people do wrong things, they don't even see that it's wrong. Okay? But then if you see what's wrong with it, then you cannot do it anymore very easily, simply by seeing. Okay? Well, this message came out all different than what I had thought. I was going to make a little holiday, a special holiday, Thanksgiving message. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. And what came out is actually quite good. I just made an excellent video, lecture, talk, entitled Finding and Experiencing God's Forgiveness. Very important, especially at this holiday season. A lot of you send me prayer requests. You've messed up in your life and you're sorry, and you'd like to experience God's forgiveness, but somehow there's a disconnect. So you want to know how to connect. Well, you've got to see the video. You got to get my meditations. You know they're free. The easy meditation is free. Prayer meditation is free. Okay. And then after that video, then this little talk here is also very good. You'll see how salvation can be implemented in your life through forgiving others, experiencing God's forgiveness, and receiving God's light, which I talked about in this video, in this lecture. That's all you need. You don't need anything else. See, that's all you need. And everything else will fall into place in God's light in due time. Okay? According to God's schedule. And if it's His will that salvation is implemented in your life, then it will happen. Okay? My name is Pastor Roland.